I'm David Schwegler, a friend of Wayne for over 35 years. In retirement, a major part of my life is volunteerism at Lake in the Hills Fenn, Illinois Nature Preserve. Other volunteers think I must live out there because it seems like I'm always there. I first saw the Fenn in June of 1987. I had recently moved back into my home in Lake in the Hills after 6 years in Iowa City, studying and teaching in the music department at the University of Iowa. I saw an announcement in the paper of a guided walk at the Spring Hill Farm Fenn, as it was known then. I was intrigued. I didn't know what a fen was, so decided to go. As you can probably guess, Wayne was the leader on that walk. I was immediately impressed with Wayne's knowledge and enthusiasm as he explained the special characteristics of a fen and called our attention to the blooming snake-mouth orchids. I hadn't even known there were native orchids in our area. For the next 35 years, Wayne was my teacher and mentor. Wayne had several characteristics that made him special. His knowledge wasn't in a single silo, deep but narrow. Instead, his knowledge was deep and broad. He was an excellent botanist, making several discoveries of species not known to be in our region, marsh valerian for one. He was a dedicated list maker, and his floras helped establish the scientific basis for many preserves. I recently got an email from Kathleen Garnes, who credits Wayne's flora of the Hosa Prairie along the Lake Michigan shore with saving it from being developed into a marina. He was one of the early botanists to survey Lake in the Hills Fenn and has confirmed a new species there as recently as this spring. He spent many hours in 2010 updating the surveys of sites in the Illinois Natural Areas Inventory. Wayne was also fascinated with birds. I remember back around 2000 doing a breeding bird survey at the Fenn and being confused by the unmusical buzzing of clay-colored sparrows. The books say they just fly through during migration but nest farther north. We proved that wrong. In recent years, Wayne's hearing declined, but a couple of years ago, he just turned up his hearing aids and helped me at the Fenn once again. You can't know Wayne for very long and not know of his love of butterflies. That fascination extends back to his childhood. As a youth, he built an impressive collection. About 10 years ago, my friend the late Dan Buckley and I decided to start surveying butterflies at the Fenn. We struggled. So at the end of the first season, we didn't even turn in our data. For the next couple of years, Wayne came with us. His deep knowledge of larval food plants helped us know what we could expect to see. For example, in a copse of American plum, he suggested we might see coral hair streaks, since that is what their caterpillars depend upon. That proved correct. In a sedge meadow, we came across Carex lacustris, lake sedge. We consistently saw Dione skippers there, as Wayne predicted. He also tutored us on the flying characteristics to help narrow down the possibilities. A little blue butterfly flying slow and close to the ground is almost certainly an eastern-tailed blue, while the blue flying higher and stronger is probably a spring azure. Who knew? Wayne did. Another characteristic of Wayne was his amazing energy for observation. I think of him as the Ernie Banks of naturalists. Ernie is famous for saying, "It's a great day for a ball game. Let's play two." Often, after slogging through a bog with Wayne, I would be ready to call it a day, not Wayne. After a bit to eat, the only decision was where to go next. My last outing with Wayne is an example. On July 25th, Neil Whitman, Wayne, and I drove to the Pembroke Savannah, a Kankakee Sands Nature Conservancy site in Will County. It was hot. But we soldiered on, and Wayne showed us the unique plants endemic on sand that Neil and I had never seen. Sand croton and large cottonweed come to mind. But after lunch, the only decision was where to go next. We settled on the Markham Prairie. I was not enthusiastic, but Wayne was determined, and we did see an unusual and amazing sight. A California tortoiseshell butterfly, a rare stray in the Chicago area, had apparently gotten up in the wind and wisely decided to escape from the fires out west. Even Wayne was initially stumped until I remembered a friend had commented to me a few days before that she had seen one in her yard. Wayne shouted, "That's it!" In addition to his scientific observations, Wayne was a teacher. He took just as much pleasure in showing others what he saw as he did in finding it himself, perhaps more. In addition to his formal teaching at various Illinois colleges, he often gave lectures for conservation organizations. But I will remember him for his informal teaching that so many of us enjoyed. He was a bit of a taskmaster. "Hey Dave, do you remember what this is?" as he pointed to some obscure plant, like a mostly green spurred gentian with its half-inch long flowers. Over time, I could more often say yes. He organized groups of friends to tour special places with him. 20 years ago, a group we called the Motleys spent a week annually at Barbara Turner's special property on the shore of Shadow Lake in Florence County, Wisconsin. We took other ambitious trips to see the sandhill crane migration along the Platte River in Nebraska. And one year we went to the Smoky Mountains at the time of the wildflower pilgrimage. Currently, there is a group of friends Wayne called the Explorers Club. We struggled with COVID restrictions, but have made some memorable local trips to Beulah Bog and the Milwaukee Prairie, both in Wisconsin. After Wayne passed, I sent an email to club members and others to make sure they knew. The comments I got back show what Wayne meant to us. From Fran Hardy, "I loved Wayne. He was a great human being and a genius that was always ready to share his knowledge." From Kathleen Garnes, "He was so gracious sharing his knowledge. He is greatly missed." From Sarah Schultz, "Like all of us, my life is richer for knowing Wayne. I'll remember his enthusiastic cries when we found some rare species and his disgust when having no other option than to walk through a patch of blackberries. He will be missed." From Pete Jackson, "One of the amazingly awesome things about Wayne, he didn't care what time of year it was. It was always a good time to go. I remember visiting a Wisconsin bog with him in midwinter." From Will Voverbeck, "Wayne was a very bright and gifted biologist. He will be missed immediately and in the future." From Ben Davies, "I'm grateful to have known and learned from Wayne over the past 3 years. His fascination and enthusiasm for the natural world, sense of humor, and willingness to teach come to mind. As hard as it is hearing this news, I can rest easy knowing he passed while doing what he loved." From June Keebler, "Wayne was enthusiastic about every living thing. Being in the field with Wayne was to share his wonder of the world. He was a rare and unique person that taught us all so much." From Daria Sapp, "What a brilliant man, so generous with his knowledge." In summary, we will miss Wayne, but he made sure that his love of nature and at least a little bit of his knowledge is with us all.